All right, guys, here we go. We are live. UFC lightweight standout, Joe Solecki. How you doing, my man?
Man, I'm great. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Before we get into so much, as a father, just had twin girls. I see all the updates. Man, how are you doing? How's the wife doing? I know it's getting close.
Yeah, we're getting really close, man. I'm excited. She had some contractions yesterday, so we stopped at the hospital. They said she's in like early labor, so it could be today or it could be 2 weeks from now. So we're and I was saying to my coach, I was like, he was checking in and seeing how we're doing. I said, well, as you can imagine, someone super type A likes to control everything. I'm taking that super well. So we'll see. Hey, she comes when she comes. We're excited.
There we go. Hey, it could be a first ever Fight Banaz podcast birth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hey,
Anything can
you
happen.
never know.
Awesome, brother. Well, congratulations with that, man. Hopefully tons of love and happiness going your way with that way. But
thank you.
Talking about happiness, what a performance, man. UFC Vegas 7 past weekend. The card was a little flipped upside down. Some COVID stuff happened. You got thrusted into that limelight spot, main card. Everyone in the MMA bubble knew that you versus Hubbard was a great fight. It was one of those kind of silent people's fight that people wanted to see. Dude, minute and a half, very composed, very, very strategic, just got the job done, got the neck, got the W. How are you feeling? You got to be happy. I know a lot of fighters go like, oh, I'm not happy with, you got to be happy with that one.
For sure. Absolutely. There's definitely things I can take away from it to learn from and grow from too, that I need to work on. But all in all, we got the job done, and it got to be, on the main card, like we talked about. So originally when we were scheduled to fight, which was in June, we were going to be the very first prelim, like the early prelims, first fight of the night.
Wow.
And now this time we were going to be like the third or fourth prelim. And then due to, some shuffling around, ended up being the third fight on the main card, which is just insane. So a lot of good eyes on me that I don't think would have been on me otherwise, even if I was in the prelims. So, man, so fortunate that it all just played out that way. Couldn't have been any better.
Absolutely, especially in the lightweight division. I don't have to tell you, super stacked, super tough, so many names. I kind of looked through it. I saw where, you're ranked, and I was like, okay, let me see the people around you. And it's just guys like superstars like Violent Bob Ross and Karma Worthy with a lot of buzz around his name, and Clay Guida, like a legend in the sport. These are guys right around you in that bubble. How does it feel to kind of, your name's got a lot of momentum to it. A great win Saturday. I see a ton of interviews going on. It's interview week for you. Just a ton of great momentum with your name.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what is super awesome about it. Is coming into this weekend, I don't think anybody really knew anything about me. And I think I left with leaving a good impression with a lot of fans, a lot of media outlets. And I was speaking to my manager, Jason House, this morning, and he said he was able to talk to Sean, and he had some good things to say. So all in all, just a super positive experience to be able to get out there. And like you said, I think we were kind of getting the reputation of the Hubbard and myself. That was going to be maybe like a fight of the night type fight, or a real close, every inch counts type fight. And that's what we kind of thought too going in. And the fact that it ended up kind of being a runaway for me is it couldn't have worked out any better. And maybe 10 times out of 10, it doesn't go that way, but this time it did. And I just, the stars aligned, and the game plan was perfect thanks to my coaches, and it just worked out.
Right. And then with that, I always say someone who's not a fighter, right? And you always want to get in and get out. I hear all the time, a lot of people want that ring time, the octagon time, and all that stuff. To me, I want the Masvidal knee. I want the 4-second in, out, big shout out name. Like, you got to be, you love what happened that fight. You got in, got out. You look clean. I don't think any injuries to you at all. The baby's coming. You're a little good for the pictures. You got to love that, right?
Yeah, I wanted to get home in one piece and quickly.
Yeah.
I was planning to leave on a stretcher, and I always say that, but it's true. But, I logged a lot of good time in the Wyman fight, especially in front of a crowd. It was good to get out there, get those UFC jitters out that I don't think I really ended up having, but if I would have. But this was, now it's time to just, whatever you can get, I got to take and get the heck out, and I don't want to be in there any longer than I have to. I'd love to fight, but winning is the most important thing. So being able to get out there so quickly, being healthy, being able to have a quick turnaround, and get back right to training. I was in training on Monday, so it lets me just keep doing what I like to do, which is getting better and progressing and getting ready for the next one. Because like you said, there's so many killers in the rankings, and 55 is a Shark Tank. So I got to be ready for whatever's next.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely get to the gym. We love the t-shirt. I got one at the house.
Oh,
I should have worn it. I didn't want to be like matching, you know what I mean? So I got it at the house. Let me talking about minutes inside the octagon, Frankie Edgar, just a living legend, the most minutes ever inside a UFC octagon. I know they kind of try to push the fighters back out. You were probably at the hotel maybe at that time, but just fighting underneath a legend like that, his win, all the buzz around it. Have you seen the fight? Did you watch all 25 minutes of it yet?
Not the whole thing yet. I'm gonna go back and watch it. But caught a good glimpse of it. We were at the post-fight presser. I was getting ready to go on stage and watch like a couple, maybe like 2 rounds of it. Frankie's like my all-time favorite fighter. So oddly enough, I end up on a Frankie Edgar card. That was cool. But then I end up on the main card, like a fight before, 2 fights before him. So really, really cool. We didn't really get to see anybody all week because of the quarantine. It's just you're kind of in your room all week. So but still really cool to just be sharing a card with like MMA royalty like that, especially my all-time favorite fighter. So really, really cool. And from the parts I did see, he just looks fantastic at 135. And gosh, just never ages. He just looks as good as he did when he was my age, if not way better, So incredible to see somebody that stayed the course, stays training all the time and works really hard, that you can go late into your career like that.
Right. And it's kind of funny and ironic. He was the 155-pound champ, something that you're trying to get to now. 9 years later, he's fighting for the 135-pound, one of a monster. Pedro is a complete stud. A lot of controversy around it. Both fighters just, tip the hat out and just keep moving forward. I thought it was an unbelievable fight. Like I said, let's talk about the gym. I love me some Jimmo. I don't know if you've seen or heard, and over the last couple of years, fighting as we've had Impa on plenty of times. Taylor's been on. Bam Bam was on a couple of weeks ago. Holtzman's been on, like the whole gym. Yeah. And, it's just got a great feel. Every time I talk to someone there, they just deflect and be like, oh, he's great. She's great. Great place. How is it? I just feel the momentum there is just incredible. It's just a very hot, trendy gym right now in 2020.
Yeah. And that's the thing with the quarantine, when gyms were kind of shut down, we were able to, I live in Wilmington, North Carolina. So home base is Wilmington, and we have Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu here, which is where we do a lot of our training, myself and John Salter. And we have a couple great teammates that help us, Corey Crumpler and Zach DeLeon. And we had Jamie Pickett last night, who got signed on the Contender Series.
Right.
Yeah, it looked fantastic. But, when we do our MMA work, we travel to Gastonia every single week in camp to go train with everybody that you just named. Scott Holtzman, Brian Barberena, Impa Kasaganai. We got Chris Honeycutt's up there now, who used to train with John Salter out in California, oddly enough, when they were both at Dethrone. So just so many great people are flocking there, and it's amazing. But, during quarantine, we weren't able to get up there. And the second time around, after I had to pull out of the Hubbard fight for COVID, we were able to get up there. And the difference it made walking in that first day back was just like, oh, I'm home. Like, I miss this place so much. And the most important thing out of the entire gym is the team, but there is no team without Jeff Jimmo. Like, the way that he's able to game plan and design little templates for us to get ready, and his knowledge in every single area of fighting, be it cutting weight, be it strength and conditioning, the most well-rounded coach. A lot of times you go to a gym and the head coach is maybe more of a grappler and they have a great striking coach that he defers to, or vice versa.
Right.
Jeff is so well-rounded. I mean, spent years in Thailand, grew up boxing, tons of wrestling matches, wrestled in college, black belt in jiu-jitsu. So he's our put-it-all-together guy. And, it was great for me because on a week like, I always have John Salter in my corner as my other coach and my boxing coach, Chris Goud, but John had to fight Friday. So while John's away getting his win, I know I have my head coach here. I don't have, just a striking coach or just a grappling. I have my head coach here to coach me through the entire fight. And that's what we did. Jeff was fantastic the entire week. And I just learned so much, even on the week when the learning should almost be stopped and we should just be using what we know to get ready for the fight. I learned so much every single day training with him this week. So just love those guys, love the gym. Great things are happening. And now this weekend, it's going to be amazing for Impa. And I believe they're going to be on the main card. So no one deserves it more than Impa. Like, I love every single person on that team, but I think we can all agree that Impa's everybody's favorite because he's the nicest person I think maybe ever. So
I've heard that over 30 times, and it's like I got ties with Impa Kasanganay from Island Fights, fighting on UFC Fight Pass, and I do a lot of stuff with them. And he was just literally the nicest man in the world, and we just kept with him, and he had so many wins past that. And then he was on that bubble of the UFC for a little bit, and then the Contender Series win. And I would love to talk about the Contender Series. To me, I'm a UFC guy, and of course, there's nothing bigger than, a Masvidal, Diaz, The Rock, Madison Square Garden. I get it. I love that. But there's just nothing like the Contender Series. It's my favorite 2 hours of the week. Yourself, Impa, you just mentioned Pickett. You got a lot of ties through there. There's nothing like it's like the Super Bowl for you guys, but it's also it's the preseason as well because you're trying to get into the show. There's just nothing like it. I would love your take on just the whole, the existence of the Contender Series and what it means to you and your career.
Yeah. Oh, I'm super, super fortunate to have had the Contender Series be an opportunity for me because, especially at 155, I took some losses. I was 7-2 when I got the call to go on the Contender Series, and I don't think without the Contender Series, I don't think there was a chance I would have got the call up, to just go to the UFC.
Right.
Because, 7-2 is an all right record, but not at 155 where guys are going 10, 11-0 and not getting signed. So,
and Joe, if I could interrupt you too, it's so fun. I got these notes, and one of the notes for you is I loved your lineup. I respect people who do what you did. Your lineup to get to 7-2, you fought killers. You fought legit great guys. You didn't mess around. I know a lot of people that get 6-0 and they never fought anyone. You know what I mean? I really just wanted to say that I love to respect your lineup to get to 7-2.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. And that's the thing is I've always said it from the beginning is I'm in search of the truth. I want to know how good I can be. And if I'm not cut out to be in the UFC early on, then I would learn that early, Right. But with that being said is, I took some losses and 7-2 was okay, but I didn't think, and I got the call up, and they gave me a chance to prove myself. And I do think I was bought in to maybe lose to the guy I fought to because they kind of had a little promo for him when he was walking out. And he had a better record. And his thing was like finishing other black belts, even though he was only a purple belt. But the great thing about the Contender Series is that's your chance to prove them wrong. And if you do great, it's going to be pretty hard for them not to give you a contract. So the other thing about it is if I just got signed to the UFC off a win at, CFFC where I was fighting or Ring of Combat, great, awesome opportunity. But with the Contender Series, I don't have to leave home like the Ultimate Fighter and be gone for 6 weeks. But it still gives a chance for fans to get to know you or even friends and family who've supported you to see that come full circle. So like for me, my wife's really, really important to me and been a huge part of my journey. And we've done this together. A lot of people, maybe they leave their work at work, but unfortunately when fighting, it's not like that. So she was such a big, part of me getting there. They focused on that. They told our story. They told about me dropping out of college and us, making ends meet and getting there together. And they showed her. And what's cool about that is even if that would have been as good as it got, and I didn't go on to win these next 2 fights. And, now I'm kind of, solidifying my spot in the UFC, hopefully. But if that never happened, we still have that moment, that TV show to go back and watch where it's not the Ultimate Fighter where it's 6 weeks of drama and reality TV. It's just a little synopsis of our story and we got our moment in the sun. So just a really cool way they do that. And they really tell everybody's story. They give you the opportunity and you get to fight in front of the most 3 powerful men in combat sports with the matchmakers and Dana White. So man, love the experience and just super thankful for that show.
Absolutely, man. ESPN, a ton of eyes on you guys all the time. And what it does going forward, someone had been in the game, this, they love Contender Series fighters. And I feel like they want you guys to succeed. And it's not like there's no easy fights in the UFC. Let's get that out of the way. There's not an easy fight in the UFC. But I feel like they try to match you up with people that, might you do better with, whatever, that kind of nature. I think they love using Contender Series fighters and trying to throw some gas on them. You know what I mean? And like you said, a story, even if it didn't go your way, you have that ESPN crowd, the following, that story to take it back to CFC or a Titan FC or any kind of big organization on Fight Pass, which is huge. They love that banner. So I think it was huge. I loved it for you guys. Man, guys, we're talking Joe Solecki, 155er. I would have to ask you, right? I got you on. Take you a couple more minutes. I know your wife is.
You're fine, man. I got plenty of time.
The lightweight division, we got Khabib and Gaethje, and it looks like underneath the dirty secret everyone kind of knows, it looks like Poirier and Ferguson's going to go underneath them, which is just a early Christmas gift for us MMA people. What do you think about those 4? And then I kind of have a funny thing I would love to talk to you about after that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pick, again, I love Khabib. I just think it's fantastic how he's so dominant. I love watching dominant champions. But I think if there is a guy to do it, it's Gaethje. It's so hard to pick. I mean, Khabib did fantastic all the last couple of fights, but Gaethje coming off, of that performance against Ferguson, almost impossible to pick against. I think he's going to get it done. I think his style of wrestling, he's not going to be able to necessarily always stop the takedown, but I think he'll be able to get up. And I think the basis for me saying that is also from Al Iaquinta because Al had, a pretty decent wrestling background. I think junior college or a smaller college. And it wasn't his takedown defense. It was his ability to scramble from that collegiate wrestling background, not being an MMA wrestler where it's just stopping the takedown. So I think that could be the difference maker. He scrambles so well, and if he gets back up to the feet, I think he can have that confidence of I can let them go now, and I think that'll be really a fun fight to watch. But I'm taking Gaethje.
Okay.
I love Dustin Poirier, one of my favorite fighters. I gotta stop picking favorite fighters that are in my division, even though we'll probably never cross paths. Just like, gosh,
you never know, my man.
Yeah, you never do, exactly. And but I'm a really big fan of his, and I think even though Ferguson's got great wrestling, great submissions, I think Poirier can get it done, especially with the damage that Tony took. I don't know if we'll ever see him be the same again after that.
Right. No, I agree full merit on that. I think probably Poirier's becoming my guy, probably one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. You just got to love him inside the octagon and outside. Also, like I said, I'm just a big family guy. Everything he does with his daughter, I love seeing that. And there's just something special about him. He has that secret sauce inside the cage. With the coach asking him, "You doing okay?" I'm having a blast. Stuff like that. How can you not love that type of guy? The thing I kind of want to throw your way, it's Dana White, a brilliant businessman, super smart, talking about getting a hotel for you guys. There's Fight Island. There's so many great things that he does. What happened if Dana White, they tried the Ferguson Habib 5 times now, and it's never happened? What happened somehow, some way? Either he's secretly putting these guys on the card as the co-main, and he's thinking something's going to happen. He might, hey, Gaethje, here's $200K, sit this one out, whatever. We got to get Tony Habib. Would you be, how crazy would it be if finally this is the way during COVID, no promotion, no videos at all. And that Saturday coming up 2 months from now, we see Ferguson and Habib finally in the main event.
Wouldn't shock me at all, man. And that is, I really
wouldn't. 2020.
Yeah, he's trying to trick fate. Fate doesn't want those two to fight, but Dana White's smarter than that. I wouldn't be surprised at all. And what's crazy is I guarantee they would do it because I was saying in another interview with these other sports, man, right now during COVID and all that, is we're seeing that other sports, it's funny because we have a lot of guys at Hudson Rose Athletics where we do our strength and conditioning. He has quite a few Major League Baseball players, a couple pro basketball players, pro football players, and they're all younger like us starting out, and they still make a great living, but they're hungry, they're young, they're still trying to get that big contract, even though they're getting paid, exponentially better than fighters. But they want to go play during the quarantine and all that. And it's the upper guys who have made their money and are seasoned vets that don't want to play. You're seeing a lot of the guys in the NBA and MLB were like, oh, we'll come back when it's safe. And in the MMA, it hasn't just been prospects and young fighters wanting to fight. It's been Gaethje taking the Ferguson fight on 4 weeks' notice. And all these guys, I think that just shows that MMA is so much more resilient in the way we're brought up in the regional scene. And, this opponent's getting swapped out and this guy missed weight by 5 pounds, but oh, well, let's fight. And I think that's why fighting is the best sport in the world. We're showing it is I guarantee those guys would flip-flop and all fight each other. They don't care. And that's what's amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Just imagine a basketball player getting traded during the playoffs to another team, and they would sit out and say, hey, I got to know the book. You guys just go in there 2 days, 3 days. Even you guys being on the prelim, that's a different feel. I would think I would get a different feel if we were going to do the interview at 1 and all of a sudden you said at 9 o'clock, it's different. It's a mindset. Yeah. It's a lot going on. So, man, you guys are incredible. I agree with you. It's there's nothing like a mixed martial artist, bar none. We'll close on this, man. I really do appreciate your time. Yeah. I saw Bam Bam mention Jersey Joe. How did you get the nickname, and how did you get down? How did you migrate down to Wilmington?
Yeah. So they just call me that up there. I think Uncle Jeff started that. Started calling me that, and then it just stuck with those guys. I never used it for a fight or anything, but maybe if I had to pick one, I definitely pick that more than some of the other things that people have tried to make stick. But yeah, born and raised in New Jersey till I was 18 years old. And my parents always had we're looking at the Carolinas, maybe Florida, some other places. And they found Pawleys Island, South Carolina, which is, like 40 minutes south of Myrtle Beach. And
love it.
They really liked it. But the best thing that they ever did was they let me finish high school up there, and really, I had some friends, but really I wanted to stay for jiu-jitsu at Hassett Jiu-Jitsu, my lifelong instructor. But I finished out high school, and then the thing that made the most sense was to follow them and try and get in-state tuition at Coastal Carolina. And, I ended up not finishing there, ended up fighting instead. But through there, I lived there for 8 years. No, I'm sorry. That's not true. 7 years. Okay. And then John Salter came and taught a seminar at our gym there, Fitness Edge MMA. and it was off to the races from there. As soon as I met him, learned from him, drove to Wilmington's 90 minutes, and I went down and trained with him. And then from there on out, I think I slowly in the back of my mind started planning the move. And gosh, from the first time I trained there, I think it was like 4 months later, we moved to Wilmington. So, and I still go back and train at Fitness Edge MMA. They're awesome. Still part of my team, still great guys. But training and moving with John was really a game changer. And then through him, we met Jeff Jimmo together. And same thing, when you just recognize someone who's a good person, but also a genius at what they do, you got to flock to them. You know, it's worth however many miles it is, or cost in gas or hotels, whatever it is, get there and learn. And that's what we did. And now, thanks to, those guys, it's been amazing.
Absolutely, man. Like, even money comes and goes, and all this comes and goes, but like those certain people, those relationships, the learning tree you have forever. You know what I mean? So I think it's brilliant. I think it's a genius of you to do it. I'm so excited for you, man. A huge end of the year coming up for you. Clay Guida, you never know, something can happen with VBR. Worthy's on a run. These are just names right there. I think it's a big fight for Joe Solecki coming late this year.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I hope so. I'm ready to take whatever opportunity. That's what we keep talking about, myself and Uncle Jeff and Impa. And, we're kind of the young guys in the team. And we keep saying that, like, we're going to show up and we're going to kick in the door, because that's how we're going to get the opportunities, right? We can't just, we're going to say yes, but we're going to take the opportunity and we got to run with it. We can't just show up and, get by. So we're really preparing to whatever, opportunity they're willing to give us is to take it and absolutely run with it, kind of like we did Saturday night. So, just couldn't be any happier with what's going on, and hopefully going to say yes to whatever they give me, and just be ready to absolutely seize that moment.
There you go. We got Impa Kasanganay this Saturday night, going to blow through that door like he always does. So big match for Impa. And whatever anyone tells you about the baby stuff or anything, books you read, don't listen to it, man. Just follow you. You'll have a daddy thing. It'll click in, and the rest will be history.
It's like fight week, man. You get these guys that gamble and stuff on the fights, and they go in your inbox like, watch his right hook, this and that. You're like, nod, smile, send the thumbs up, and then do what you're going to do anyway.
Yep.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.
You too.